Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have taught us this truth and rule well. Peace and salutations to the chosen and the elect. This is Ariel Zabak out of the Jill Miss Dallas camp. And I think I'm going to entitle this lesson here, the ways of the Lord. All right. And, this is coming out of Proverbs 20 and 24, because, today, people have coming to a realization of unbelief where they think this is free, they have free will, a choice, to, be spiritual or not, as if, they in authority over them own selves. And that's far to be true. Growing up in a Christian church, these things, and those demons, from the spirits that's been taught in there, in those, churches, have us to believe those things, especially when you don't have to, keep any of the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay. So, you become self-willed. And that's a dangerous thing and a dangerous mindset to be in, because it shows you you're lacking wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And that's how you become a fool. You become wise to this world, but, a fool unto the Most High, because you're going off. All right. So let's go ahead and grab that out of Proverbs chapter 20 and 24. And it reads, man's goings are of the Lord, Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? So when you come into this truth, it was, as the scripture says, faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of the Most High. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, wanted your spirit to be quickened when you're called into this truth, and that was, instructed by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which he ordered your steps, meaning that you didn't have free will. You probably had something planned on that day, whether you heard it via internet, on the streets, or someone talking about it. So, let's get that word going real quick and read what it says. Let's go into that word going. This is Strong's H473. And it reads, Masad, and it reads, what's the word that I'm looking for? Step, figuratively, companionship, going, step. But it's another one I'm looking for. Okay, figurative, of course of life. And that's what it's going into, a course of life. A man's going is of the Lord. Meaning that your steps for your life has already been coursed through Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Whether it's on the left hand side or the right hand side. Okay, so for Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai's people, which are the nation of Israel, you do have the chosen and the elect. And you have the wicked 2/3 that you read about in Zechariah the 13th chapter, starting from verse 8 on down. And let me grab another precept, that can that goes to this as well. Let's get John. Let's get John chapter 15 and verse 19. Okay, and it reads. This is John chapter 15 and verse 19. And this is Yahweh Shai speaking. If you were of the world would love his own. But because you're not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hated you. And that's the point, Yahweh Shai does the choosing. You don't have free will. The scripture says many are called, but few are chosen. All right. So, our steps are ordered, through the Spirit. Okay. And let's go ahead and go back to Proverbs. I was opening up with that precept, but my initial scripture was in Proverbs chapter 3. And we're going to start from verse 5, and it reads, "Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, which is your mind, and lean not unto thine own understanding." You can't depend on your understanding because, roughly paraphrasing, scripture says, let Yahweh be the truth and every man a liar. We're gonna go off. Okay, so we have to lean on the understanding, and where we get that understanding via the scriptures, through our teachers. And let me see if I can find a precept to that as well. See our teachers and eyes. Let's get that. Okay. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 20, and it reads, "And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner any more." And it reads, "But thine eyes shall see thy teachers." Okay. So that's letting you know that, you have to be taught this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And, our apostles and elders, bishops and elders here at Great Millstone, and on down, have been taught. Okay. All right. Let's go back to Proverbs. Let's go back to Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 5, and let's read it again. And it reads, "Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, which is with all thine mind, and lean not unto thine own understanding." And when you come into this truth, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, one of the first things you have to do is learn a name, which is Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. That's one of the things you have to learn. And also have faith in Yahweh Shai, through his death, burial, and resurrection. Because we always just run to the law, which is good. We're supposed to keep the law according to Judges 5 and 11. And also have faith in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Okay? Because that's very important. Remember, we all been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And with us being scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, that makes us foreigners. All right? Because we've been kicked out of our homeland due to the curses in Deuteronomy 28. All right? 15 on down. You see? So when we come into this truth, we have to, trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai with all thine heart, which is your mind. And the only way you're going to do that is hear it from your teachers. And that's why the scripture says faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High. All right. Verse 6, it reads, "In all thy ways acknowledge him." And matter of fact, let's back up to trusting in the Lord with all thine heart, because that goes into believing as well. How can you have one without the other? It's when you trusting in the Lord with all thine heart. That means there's belief and faith. So let's get a couple of precepts on that. I didn't want to leave that out. Let's get Hebrews, 11, verse 1, and it reads, "Now faith is the substance," which means, which is the scriptures. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of those things not seen. Let's get that word substance in the Greek so we can, And it means hypothesis, a setting or place under, thing put under, structure, foundation. That which is found has foundation, is firm. That which has actual existence, a substance, a real being, the substantial quality, nature of a person or thing. You see, Yahweh Shah. The steadfastness of mind, firmness, courage, resolution, confidence, firm trust, assurance. Okay? Being confident. So let's go back and read that again. And it reads, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. You see? For the evidence of things not seen. And that's what we're believing in, is the kingdom to come, which you can get in Romans 9. Okay? And that faith is the substance, and that's having, confidence in the things we hope for, because we know it's real. We got that belief. We understand, okay? Which are these scriptures. We believe on these scriptures, all right? These precepts, okay? And the things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, and those things that we haven't seen yet is salvation, and everything that's pertaining to salvation that you read in Romans 9 and 4. We don't have to get it. But matter of fact, let's go ahead and get it. Okay, let's get Romans 9 and 4. We'll start at verse 3. And it reads, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, which are the Israelites. You see? And it's speaking of all 12 tribes, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises. Okay? And that adoption is going back into us being adopted, as Israelite foreigners, back into the fold. That's what that adoption is going into, okay? And the glory, that's when the kingdom of heaven will win rulership, And the covenants, which is given to the Israelites, the second covenant, we get the new bodies, when New Jerusalem come down, the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, which is the priesthood, and the promises. You see? All of those things are the things that we're hoping for, okay? All right. So let's get go back to Proverbs again. Let's go back to Proverbs. As a matter of fact, let's go back to Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 11 again, and it reads, now faith is the substance, the confidence that we have in the things we hope for, the belief, from the scriptures, for the evidence of things not seen. And those things that we haven't seen are what we just mentioned in Romans chapter 9. And let's skip down to Hebrews 11 and 6, and it reads, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is, and that he is rewarded of them that diligently seek him. And this is, to the chosen and the elect, because that's what we're going to be doing, is diligently seeking him, okay? Searching the scriptures, eating the roll. Seek out of this book and reading, okay? That's what that's going into. And only the chosen and the elect is going to have that mindset. All right. Let's get another one in Romans, the 3rd chapter. Okay, this is Romans chapter 3 and verse 22. And it reads, even the righteousness of the Most High, which is by faith of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach unto all and upon all them that believe. For there is no difference. You see, faith and belief go hand in hand. Okay? If you believe something, it's easy to have faith in it. You can't have faith in something you don't believe. Also with who's that? Enoch. I think that's in here too. Let's get that one. What was that verse? Oh, that's in Hebrews. And let's go back to Hebrews chapter 11. And it's verse 5. Let's get it. And it reads, by faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death. He was caught up into the chariots. Okay? Because the Most High had translated him. For before his translation, he had his testimony, this testimony, that he pleased the Most High. And that's the same thing that, Lord willing, we those men and women that we're hoping for, with our faith in Yahweh Shai on his return, that we, keeping our medicine strong, being faithful to this word, to this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, okay? And we hoping to get on those chariots as well and be translated up, okay? So this is the evidence of the things not seen that we're waiting on, all right? Let's go back to Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. All right. This is Proverbs chapter 3. And we're going to start at verse 6 now. And it reads, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. You see? So when we, walking after, our teachers, starting with our apostles, bishops, and elders, here at GMS, who we were taught by, through the Spirit. We're taught the right names, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Okay? The correct doctrine, the 100% truth. Going out on the highways and byways, preaching this truth, doing our videos so this word can be, so we can be that instrument of this word being sent throughout the four corners of the earth via the internet that's doing the heavy lifting. Okay? And also for Babylon the Great to get that judgment, okay? Verse 7, be not wise in thine own eyes, fear Yahweh, and depart from evil, okay? So don't be impressed with the wisdom of this world, Don't be wise with the wisdom of this world, because it's carnal. And, Babylon the Great is going to get destroyed, going to get hit with a nuclear destruction. All right. And the scripture says, and depart from evil. And that's what the fear of the Lord is. It's to hate evil. If you're not in this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you don't have the truth and, doing the will of the Most High, then walking after darkness. You're wicked, that means you bearing iniquities on a daily because you sinning after sinning after sinning. And that's all that can come of you, living in the carnal mind. All right. So, to summarize everything, you have the chosen and the elect who's going to be, who's not going to be wise in thine own eyes, who's going to fear the Lord and depart from evil, walking in the ways of the Lord, being directed through the Spirit. And then you're going to have the wicked 2/3, who also is going after the Lord. A man's going as though the Lord, how can he then know his own way? They also walking in their lots as well, as being the wicked 2/3. And that's the side you don't want to be on. Okay. So again, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. And with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Raha Kodash, Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have taught us this truth and rule well. Peace and salutations to the chosen and the elect. Shalom.